And here we are. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Happy Wednesday to you, if it is Wednesday wherever you are. We are mega worldwide after all. So, I mean, somewhere out in the space transom where you exist, it could be a warm day on your planet. Who knows? At this point, do we even know where this is beaming? Eventually, this is going to reach somebody off this world. Whether they see it relatively live because they're in that in the Black Knight asteroid that's floating around the Earth right now that looks like an alien craft mixed with an old piece of beef jerky, or if it's through a wormhole, or and there's someone in a faraway, distant galaxy going, maybe you've stumbled on it that way. Whatever has brought you here, thank you for giving me the greatest gift another human being could give anyone else, which is their time. And I'll try and make it worth your while we laugh a little bit about apparently the fact that a bunch of jackasses tried to upend and ruin democracy, scuttling it not just in our country but in Ukraine as well. And to quote the dude, or paraphrase the dude, they fucked up. They fucked up. Calmer than you are. And I mean, I count my lucky stars every day that the insurrection, the cuckoo, was planned and carried out largely by the biggest dipshits on the planet. Even Eastman, who seems to be the most coordinated of all, was he was like a mid-level high school quarterback playing in the Super Bowl and handing it off to like a bunch of goats. Like there was nothing. Yeah, I'm giving you Gaston vibes. And every last inch of me's covered with hair. It isn't actually. Sorry. But I do have a bit of a Gaston dude today. Thanks for noticing. And there was somebody mentioned a book as I was setting up and I was getting settled in, The Search of In Freedom or something. I don't know if I saw it. Write it in the chat again, if you could. Hello, Wales. The country, not the animals. Yeah, Eastman's an idiot. Thank God. Again, just every time one of these people, they're like, oh, can you imagine they got this close? I'm like, I don't care. That's like they show a dolphin at SeaWorld throw a basketball through a hoop, and people are like, can you imagine how close this dolphin got to being in the NBA? And you're like, tap the fucking brakes, dummy. The road to in freedom? In freedom? That's very weird. The road to in freedom. It's a very odd conspiracy. Yeah, the conspiracy of dunces, clearly. Yes, and whales. If there are real whales here, I would like to say to you, which I think is hello if my early 90s meditation tapes are correct. Hype train right out of the gate. Don't forget twitch.tv/HALSparks. Don't forget to subscribe. And of course, wherever your favorite way of watching the show is, click the like and the subscribe. And if you're on Facebook, use the little face emoji things. Apparently that makes things way more popular. That's how it's programmed. Apparently Facebook is like, these words, these biggie wordy words. It's better if you just have a big crying face or something. What in the heck? Calm yourself. No diatribes in the chat room. Mind yourself. I do have whale fans. It's true. I'm looking for a Twitch whale. That'd be nice. You know, one of these people who comes through and buys like 6 trillion spots. What is that? Wait, William. No. All right. So here we go. Let's get this started. It is true. I am multi-talented. Let's use some of those multi-talents today. There's some long ones today, because some of the clips are long. So let's start with a short one, which I don't think any of us could stand a long version of this. This is Boris Epstein. It's pronounced Frankenstein, and that's not him, is it? No, that's Court whatever. Anyways, that's Steve Bannon. We know that, and then he's got one of these dickheads on, and what they seem to be upset about.
I want to go to Boris.
Hold on, he does want to go to Boris. The cowardice of the House GOP with Boris Epstein. So I don't know what they're cowarding about. I don't disagree that they're cowards. I would say that it's more, their cowardice is more in line with the fact that they won't push back against Trump, even though he doesn't really have a control over the party unless they say he does, and they're too scared to do it, and yada yada. Yes, I know, and I don't have any popcorn because we just ordered lunch and it came late, and for Ethan and me, and I had 2 bites and then I came back and sat down with you guys.
Real quickly, Boris, about
real quick,
Chip Roy. I mean,
about Chip Roy's complaint.
We talk about authenticity, fight, and the ability to take political pain. This country has so.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, basically, he's like TYT in 30 years. I don't know. Everybody's aging quick.
So many tough decisions in front of them, right? Mm-hmm. About the budget, about ad control spending, about systemic inflation, all of it.
Everything.
This was about the easiest call you could possibly have to vote.
Easiest.
And again, I think what they're talking about is voting against the extra money for Ukraine.
On this bill. Easiest. Walk us through.
And I don't know why that would be the easiest, because supporting Ukraine is incredibly popular across the country.
The cowardice of the House, the Republican House of Representatives. Forget the Democrats. They're destroying the country.
Well, no, Russia's destroying the country. If we're just still talking about the same country.
The Republicans, I think 157 of them, 158, voted yes on this thing with no debate, not even reviewing the bill.
Well, obviously, it went through committee, and they're aware of what's in it without even reviewing the bill. What are you going to do? You want them to stand up and say, and each of them go on record for you as to why we shouldn't support Ukraine against Russia? Get fucked.
Boris Epstein.
It's disgusting. It is unacceptable.
It's weird that a guy like Boris would think that. A guy named Boris would come to that conclusion. You know what I mean? With the name Boris, you'd think he'd be... no?
It is pathetic. I don't have... to be honest with you, I don't have enough words.
Well, it's not the volume. It's not the quantity. It's the quality of words.
To really describe how disappointed I
am. Think about your penis and work backwards.
In every single member of the Republican Party in the House who voted for this canard. And why? Because Joe Biden went to Ukraine on Mother's Day?
Yeah, that's why they did it.
Because Nancy Pelosi blasphemed and invoked the name of God on the House floor?
From a branding standpoint, that might have had some effect.
We as Republicans have been talking for 10 years now. 10
What do you mean we?
years. Oh, Nancy Pelosi didn't let anybody read Obamacare. And now we are voting for...
And it's weird. She didn't let anybody read Obamacare, and yet I fucking read it? How did I read it? And
another bill where nobody was allowed to read it?
Nobody's stopping you from fucking reading it. And here's the thing. If you're too busy to read it, have somebody in your fucking staff read it and redline it for you. Because you do have, it's been a fucking week, you lazy sons of bitches.
What's the point? If I'm a voter at home and I'm looking at these Republicans.
Yes, please. Oh, this is starting to get good. Wait. Smell that? Yeah, that's the smell of a man setting fire to his own boat.
Who are running in the districts and saying, no, we have to go against Nancy Pelosi. We've got to fight. We've got to be able to read the bills. And then I look at this vote. What's the point? And here's the deal, Steve.
Yeah, why vote, Republicans? Just fuck it. I mean, this is gross. Never vote again, Republicans, says Boris Epstein.
100 seats for 100 years, yes, but it's got to be our 100 seats for 100 years.
He means the Senate, by the way.
No more of this mellow-mouth nonsense.
Yeah, these mellow-mouth nonsense. You think we got problems with fucking Manchin and cinema?
MAGA is smart. The War Room Posse is smart.
I mean, I I suppose we could try and take your word for it, but I've been doing that for a long time, and still I'm not seeing anything.
President Trump, as the leader of the MAGA movement, absolutely gets it.
Well, oh, what do you mean by it? Syphilis?
You can't just slow tap us and talk to us and think you're going to do whatever you want anyway. Give away $40 billion to Ukraine?
Yes. In humanitarian aid and in material support, much of which they're going to pay back. Now, if you're rooting for the other side, I can understand how you would be pissed.
For what? And by the way, who knows if it'll even get to Ukraine?
Well, I would think that as members of Congress who have oversight, they would participate in the process to make sure it got spent there.
Maybe get some oligarchs and Zurich.
By the way, this is the same talking point we've heard from Jimmy Dore, and this is the same talking point we hear from Russell Brand. It's weird, the overlap, don't you think?
Well, maybe some will go to some other woke nonsense from the State Department.
Yes, that's right. They're gonna the State Department is running out of woke dollars, so that they're gonna have to skim some from aid to Ukraine on the side. I'm sorry, you're confusing Democrats with Republicans again. See, Democrats do periodic reviews to make sure that the money was spent where it was supposed to be spent. It's Republicans that spend it and throw it away and don't look back and hope that no one catches their buddies stuffing their pockets.
First of all, we've already put 16...
Just 10 more seconds on this.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, go ahead.
$40 billion. Could you imagine what $40 billion could do to inner Baltimore?
Well, I mean, there would have to be obviously some sort of bond issued to inner Baltimore. Also, is the federal government now in the city building enterprise? Because these fuckers get real communist real fast. And by the way, if Joe Biden came out and said, we want $40 billion to rebuild Baltimore, fuck off. Please tell me these assholes would go, well, finally, we're spending it on America. They'd go, this is a boondoggle spending for inner cities that can't get their Democratic mayors in these violent cities, and he wants to pour $40 billion down the throat of Baltimore. Get out of here.
What $40 billion could do to D.C. right here a mile away?
Well, I mean, a mile away from where you are, what $40 billion could do, it could get voted on and sent to Ukraine to protect democracy and create a barrier for Europe from more Russian expansion, dum-dum.
Could you imagine what $40 billion could do at the border of the United States of America, the country we live in, not some country halfway around the world?
We're not short of funds on the border. It's not that we can't hire enough people or whatever. It's just that there's a reality of a certain what we would do is, can you imagine what $40 billion would do if it was spent at the Department of Homeland Security to root out who in the United States and in other countries, obviously, but within the United States is setting up messaging in Latin American countries to create these caravans in the first place. If they traced back who was trying to get people to the border for a political stunt, where would they end up? Would $40 billion be enough to discuss? I'm guessing.
It is unacceptable. It is despicable. And we will not forget. We will not forget.
Yeah, don't forget. Don't forget. Yeah, I think you should definitely, say what you will about the $40 billion, but the Democrats tell you where it's going, and it's going there. These guys supposedly told you something else, and then they, at least you wouldn't be voting for a hypocrite.
Who pushed this vote on the Republican side and who voted for it.
Yeah, so angry.
It is unacceptable.
Why is it unacceptable? What the fuck are you talking about? It's basically because this is the route money. This is the money that will drive Russia back into its own country. This is why this $40 billion that just got passed is why Ukraine just passed a resolution about their goals for the war. And gone are, they can still keep Donbass, they can still keep Crimea. Now the new goals for Ukraine is Russians out entirely. Fuck off. Back to your own borders. We're taking Crimea back. We're taking Donbass back. We're taking the Donetsk and Luhansk areas. They're ours. They were ours to start with. Fuck you. Get out. That's what this $40 billion did. That's specifically what shifted that messaging. Because with that money, they can absolutely do it. And that's why he's pissed. That's why Bannon is pissed. Because, there's an argument that even the $13 billion, because half of it was humanitarian aid, and then a trickle of $3 billion here and $3 billion here would draw this thing out and trickle away at, eventually you would just eat up the country with fewer people in it without bigger resources, because it would be a drip. It wouldn't be enough for Ukraine to gain ground. This $40 billion is going to allow them to gain ground and drive the Russians out entirely, especially with the help of the other European countries that are supporting them as well, on top of that. That's what they're pissed about. That's what this anger is all about.
It is not MAGA.
Boris, this is the kind of, we need fight. 57, think about it for a second. Everything the MAGA movement has done, everything the people in this audience have
Is it MAGA or MAGA?
done, and not even have.
What have they done? Oh yeah, they took a shit in the rotunda and beat a cop with a Blue Lives Matter flag. What else have they done? Corporate tax cut, right. The personal one expired, but the one for corporations, that was permanent. What else has MAGA done? Besides, I guess, elevating sexual predation to a character trait necessary for high office within the Republican Party. MAGA. Oh yeah, they also gather in fields because Trump won't pay his security bills.
Have the respect. They don't have the respect.
Nah, they don't.
The Republican leadership does not respect you.
Yeah, and I don't know why that would be. It certainly can't be your hygiene.
Not to sit there and go, hey, if we're going to do this, it's going to take 2 or 3 days. Get the bill. Let's go through it. Maybe even have a hearing. Maybe even ask them.
Slow walk it. They can still have the vote on it, but maybe if they could tap the brakes on it, because that might give, in wartime, days don't really matter. I mean, it's who gives a shit if it's weeks or whatever. Just, if all my friends in Russia are telling me is that they just need a couple more days to get their shit together, and it's going to be fantastic.
Questions. Maybe do some due diligence.
Hearing.
This shows you the corruptness of the corruptness of the system and the cowardice.
Oh, they turned off his mic so that Steve could get his point out. What he thought was a point when he started talking.
Of leadership. Boris.
As we used to say on my football team, it's SOS, same old, and you could fill in the blank on the last one. I don't want to
Yeah, it's such a football-y kind of term.
get you fined again.
You mean same old situation? It's a Motley Crue song.
That's what this is. It's the same old nonsense.
Yeah, I don't even know why you vote for Republicans. I would form a third party. I don't know, maybe jumpstart the Whigs.
The same old crap. It is unacceptable. And it's
I'm enjoying hearing him say that.
so refreshing to see people like Bo Hines, people like Commander Greitens, who's fully against this crazy spending overseas. Blake Masters, Kyle LeBrew in Missouri. We
Yes, you can literally name these dipshits on one hand. You can count them on one hand.
We have fighters coming up in the MAGA movement. And if people don't want to fight who are there now, well, move on. Move on. Because this isn't.
Well, apparently they do want to fight. They just want to fight Russia in Ukraine. Or help Ukraine fight Russia, depending on how they look at it. They are enjoying fighting Vladimir Putin because they think he's a monster and they think there are war crimes going on. The Ukrainians didn't deserve this, and this would give him outsized control over oil and gas in the region and give him even more hegemonic control over European, the vast areas of Europe. And then he's going to move into Moldova, and then because of his alliance with Belarus, they're going to go into Lithuania and Latvia. They're going to try and box in Finland. He's going to take more of Georgia and Chechnya. So which would be a $1 trillion problem, a multi-trillion dollar problem over years, not to mention the human lives lost. You know, and didn't you guys used to be pro-life or something?
Just to think that in a moment when
Why start now?
Democrats are, think about this politically, fine. You know, this is so blatantly wrong on policy, but even think about this politically. The Democrats are in the toilet in terms of their approval ratings.
No.
Okay? The Democrats are dead. Look at all the ballot polling, everything.
Yeah. So yeah, just coast. They're screwed. I don't even know. Not only do you not have to vote this fall because your Republicans are unprincipled hacks, of course, but also, I mean, do you even really need to? They got, I mean, votes coming out of their ears. You know.
So why in the world would you follow the lead of Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi on this bill?
Yeah, it couldn't possibly be that you have one principled bone left in your body and it still works.
I mean, are the Republicans in Congress this divorced, this detached from their constituents back home?
No, you are. No, the war room is.
They think that's who's gonna like this? Just answer. And honestly, I'm willing to get.
He's very upset.
An answer. Maybe we should even put somebody on the show who voted for the bill, because here's what I want to hear. Steve. I want to hear who at home, who voting likes this.
Well, there's 156 of these fuckers. Not one of them would return your phone call. This video has, and it's fresh, it's brand new, 490 views, 151 rumbles. You know, it's not 1-to-1. It's not doing too bad, I think. But they, you know, these are people who have paid to push it to the top of the line. 151 people just said more people need to see this, and 350 or so were like, eh. But yeah, so that's they are in a screaming fit about this funding for Ukraine passing, and I find that glorious. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. The fact that these assholes' teeth are grinding about funding for Ukraine passing, when their dude, when he got him in there, was there, his whole purpose was to hamstring aid to Ukraine. Ugh. Let's see. When is Bannon's liver going to melt? I don't know. I think it's going to just revolt. I think that might be Bannon's liver wearing headphones. I'm not sure. Make America great again. We're trying. We're trying. You know, it's going to take brooming these idiots. But we're working at it. Anyways. By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Good for you. Good on you. I think that's great. Now, this next video, I reserve the right. Hold on. This next video, I reserve the right to bail out on if I get bored, because it is indeed a Trump interview on a rando website, and it's this guy wearing a "Let's Go Brandon" shirt with a Punisher skull and Trump's hair on it. This is David Harris Jr. This is his second interview with President Trump. And he says, I'm going to ask him about Ukraine, his thoughts on Zelensky, and I'm going to ask him about the recent data released on adverse reactions from the Pfizer vaccine and more if I can fit it in. Oh, believe me, you can. Also, he's got a sponsor, the Skull Shaver. Okay, knows his audience. Let's do this. So he does the fake Trump call-in thing. I jumped ahead to the actual interview because there's a big like macho opening video thing.
Hello.
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 Hello, Mr.
Hello.
President Donald Trump. How are you, sir?
How are you?
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm doing.
It's going good. Hello. Hello.
Good, Mr. President. I'm doing good. How are you doing
David.
today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. How do you want to do this?
Well, I just have some questions for you. I want to say.
Usually I speak. It comes in the form of a question. You turn that question into a way to spout the same blather you do, and then I try to get you back on track, and your people gave me a list of no-go topics, which is it just says details.
Thank you so much for taking the time. I know you are extremely busy, especially wading through the chaos of nonstop misinformation, and now
Yes, he's exhausted from he's very busy from wading through chaos.
with the war in Russia and Ukraine. And I just have some questions for you.
There's a war in Russia?
I'd love to get your opinion on a few different issues.
Go.
So
Let's go.
Ukraine.
Let's go. Let's do it. Here we go. I'm excited.
And there has been so much misinformation about.
I'm wearing a green shirt today. I apologize. I should know.
About Ukraine, about Zelensky, about Putin. Just give me your take on what's happening. Obviously, I don't believe, and I think most Americans don't believe that Putin would have invaded Ukraine had you still been in office.
Yeah, but people who think that are fucking morons. He was teeing it up for them to be able to do it in his second term, and then during his second term, stiff-arm NATO and slow-walk everything so they could take Ukraine.
But there's all this backstory coming out about Zelensky, whether or not he's actually a good leader.
Yeah, total backstory. Something about him being a Jew.
What's this war actually all about? Give me your opinion on Zelensky and on what's taking place in Ukraine.
Yeah, here we go. This is deep. This is cutting. I'm fascinated. Let's hear it.
If I were president, this would have never happened. This atrocity, one of the truly. I think it'll go down as one of the great atrocities in history.
You mean Russia's terrible military action and how bad they suck and how they're losing to a much smaller country and having their ass handed to them, where their tanks are running out of gas and that kind of atrocity?
We have not seen in our lifetime.
Oh, we have not seen? What did we not see?
For the most part, we have not seen in our
No, we're not seeing in our lifetime. What would we not see?
lifetime anything like it. It's a disgrace. Would never have happened. Putin would have never done it.
Yeah, I know. I saw a leaked video of you on the phone with John Daly where you made it very clear, not only with President Xi and Putin, that
a leaked video with John. I think it's one of these Mar-a-Lago videos. You made it very clear. Yeah, it was leaked.
There's no way that they would do any type of invasion on your watch. But we have weak leadership in the Oval Office right now.
You do know that the country that attacked and the country that's being attacked are not America. Maybe he doesn't.
If you even can call it leadership.
I can. Joe Biden's a good leader. I mean, ask NATO.
But what's your personal take on Zelensky?
Well, I must tell you, with respect to the fake, and if you look at it, the fake impeachment, that's what it was. It was based on a perfect phone call.
No, it was a real impeachment.
He said there was absolutely nothing wrong with that call. He was.
Yeah, because up until he knew you were going to lose, and then this is when they didn't have the. I don't understand still why he didn't have that. We're going to have an investigation press conference that you asked for, and that Rudy tried to strong arm him into. I think that's the bravest thing he did, because you still could have won that election.
He was very strong. He could have told or misrepresented if he wanted. I had great respect because
he could have told. He could have told on me.
There was a lot.
He could have tattled.
Pressure on him, and he could have said, "Well, I took it this way, that way." He said there was nothing wrong with that call. He didn't know what the hell was going on, David. He was saying,
"Yeah, that's because he's used to being muscled by another country. He doesn't know our law.
There's nothing wrong with that call at all." And so I have great respect for him. I've always remembered that. He could have said, "Well, I felt threatened" or something. There was nothing to be threatened about.
Jesus.
So I have great respect for him. And then I see the job he's doing now. Not easy. And he's doing very well, keeping the spirits up.
That's what he's doing. He's really good at keeping the spirits up. Because strategy and coordinating with other countries and the like, and getting the arms into the country and getting stuff to the front lines and making sure that your refugees are taken care of and documenting war crimes and all that kind of stuff, that's only 10% of the job. The rest of it is TV.
As much as you can with this atrocity going on.
Yes. Yeah, I think that he is as well. The thing that's crazy to me is...
By the way, I'm fairly certain this guy doesn't know which side he's supposed to be on.
Is I rarely ever find myself on the same side of the Democrats, of Joe Biden, of Pelosi, and yet they're all wearing a Ukrainian pin. They're all pushing and promoting for, you know, pro-Ukraine, anti-Putin.
So I don't know why I just knee-jerk want to help Putin. It's weird. It's just I hate them so much. I'm kind of finding myself in the pro-mass grave crowd. You know? You ever have that?
Is it just that simple, that they just also don't want to see war, or is there something else going on behind the scenes, you think?
Yeah, they're only supporting this because, you know, cha-ching.
Well, they're doing absolutely nothing to persuade Putin. Like Biden goes on constantly, and he'll say, Russia's a nuclear nation or a nuclear nation. Well, you don't have to say that, you know. Everybody knows that. And I rebuilt our nuclear capability during the...
By the way, he's referencing, you know, from like 3 weeks ago when everybody was talking about a no-fly zone, and it kept being this talking point. Notice that talking point is dead. And one of the things that killed it was everybody being reminded on almost a daily basis, 3 or 4 times a day, that if you create a NATO no-fly zone, you've got NATO fighter jets that are going to have to fire on a Russian one, and then we're in a bigger war. And Biden and everybody had to come out and say it dozens of times for it to fucking sink in, and then it finally did. And now nobody talks about it anymore, except this dickhead.
4 years, and we have more than anybody, better than anybody. We have, you know, that doesn't mean you go around talking about it. Now, Putin talks about it. I've never seen a leader outside of Kim Jong-un talking about it so much. He talks about it a lot, and he's got Biden very scared because you look at what's, you know, he keeps mentioning it, that we'll never fight. We'll never fight because he's a nuclear power, but...
Yeah, that's not what anybody has fucking said. We'll never fight because he's a nuclear power? No. Like, is that what this asshole hears when other people speak?
You know, things that you say like that show such tremendous weakness. It sounds so bad. Sounds so bad.
Yeah, it does. And if Biden had ever said anything like that, perhaps you'd have a point.
Yeah, it does. How long do you think it'll be, or do you think that we'll see President Xi invade Taiwan?
Oh, it's going to go quickly. I think it's going to go much sooner than people.
Oh, a couple weeks, 2 weeks, right after his healthcare plan gets released.
People thought. You see, when we surrendered, because it was a pure surrender, I'm the one that got us down to 2,000 troops. We would have taken them out with great dignity and strength, courage.
Afghanistan.
Yeah, don't tell him. Don't key him up. He was about to say Iraq or Qatar. No. Again, this fucking guy is saying that our troops surrendered. It'd be one thing if he was like the president's, it was a surrender from the top. The soldiers were just doing their job. This asshole tells stories like our guys dropped their guns and ran from guys with knives. How the fuck do people who are like, you know, support the vets or your military, like how are they okay with that shit? Right? Because they're more the America love it or leave it crowd than almost anybody is the you don't shit on our soldiers. And yet they let this asshole have a pass saying that our soldiers dropped their guns and fucked off out of fear. They surrendered.
We had to get out of that place after 21 years. Nobody did it. I'm the one that brought it all the way down to 2,000. The next move was take out our people and our equipment. Nobody was shot. 18 months, nobody was killed. No.
Yeah, because you hadn't left yet. And that's why you punted it into your next term.
American soldier was killed in 18 months because of me. Because I said, you don't kill him. And I spoke with the Taliban.
Oh, my God.
I spoke to Abdul.
Oh, God.
But it was just incredible. When we pulled out so incompetently, left behind $85 billion worth of equipment.
No, we did not.
Not even thinkable.
Yeah, no one thinks that except you and your dipshit followers. We did not leave behind $85 billion worth of functioning gear. That's 21 years worth of shit that was brought there. Much of it destroyed. A good portion of it was stuff we gave to the Afghan military to secure the country. Stuff we never intended to get back so they could stand on their own and we could fuck off.
Numbers, there's few countries in the world that have any capability like that. $85 billion. And now they're a big arms salesperson. You know, they sell arms now.
Yeah, it's weird. They're not using it.
You know that, right?
Yep.
No.
They're selling rifles, they're selling machine guns, they're selling tanks, they're selling everything.
Yeah, they don't have tanks.
It's disgraceful.
They don't have tanks.
When we pulled out so incompetently.
And by we, obviously, Stormy was, present, but.
She was watching from China, and Putin was watching, and Kim Jong-un and Iran was watching.
And apparently they took the entirely wrong message from this. Do you think she is watching what's going on with Russia in Ukraine right now?
When that took place, that was a bad day for America. That was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country.
No, I mean, it doesn't even chart. Well below your election.
My opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And when they...
Based on fucking what? You agree?
I saw that. I guarantee that Putin, he never would have done it on my watch. But if he was thinking about it, if he was undecided about it, when he saw what took place in Afghanistan, that horrible.
They had already put the plan in place before we left. Early last year, they had given the military go-ahead to start moving troops and materials to the Ukrainian border. We now know this. It didn't fucking all happen on September fucking 1st.
Incompetent pullout, the way it was done, the way it was executed, leaving dead soldiers behind, leaving...
We didn't leave any dead soldiers behind, you fucker. So now he's saying that our soldiers just left their dead behind. He's saying that the U.S. military just left dead people behind, just left our dead soldiers. We surrendered, our soldiers dropped their guns and ran, and we left dead people behind. Fucking hell.
American citizens behind, and leaving $85 billion behind of equipment.
None of which is true.
When he saw that, there is no doubt in my mind that that's when he decided, I'm going to do this now.
And boy, did he make a mistake.
And I'm sure that's probably exactly what President Xi is thinking as well.
No. He's thinking, oh, Beijing's got to be locked down because I'm still running this quote-unquote dynamic zero COVID policy. Our death toll is about 22 million people from COVID, and I've been bullshitting everyone that it's 4,000, and we don't even have the material force to push back against the Indian army in the disputed zone around Tibet. So if I try to go out into Taiwan, the rest of the world's going to choke the fuck out of my country because all they have to do is stop coal imports and all the lights in my whole goddamn country go out in 2 fucking weeks. That's what he's thinking. Of the 3 people here, and I'm racking my brain. I know Trump, when he was president, went to North Korea. I don't know how much time he spent in China, and if he did go anywhere, of course, he was getting red carpet the entire time he was there. Raise your hand if you're in this group of 3 people and you've walked the streets of China in every province.
Speaking of the fallen heroes, the 13 of them from...
Yeah, the ones we left behind, according to him, that our soldiers just went, fuck it. They've outlived their usefulness.
Afghanistan, and my contacts, including Laura Logan, say that there are still probably close to 200 Americans still left in Afghanistan. Joe Biden did not mention them during his State of the Union address at all. Did you watch his?
Yeah, why didn't Joe Biden mention the people in the opium trade who have dual citizenship and still wanted to stay in Afghanistan, even if the State Department was trying to evacuate them? Why wouldn't he bring up those fine, upstanding citizens who were part of it.
So to address?
I did.
Did you feel emboldened at all, or did you feel like you had been ripped off, that he was using so much of your normal, your rhetoric, your mentioning, your America
Yeah, he used a lot of your mentionings.
first, build American, hire American, buy American?
Yeah, the only difference is that the executive order that Biden signed to do that actually has teeth, and this asshole carved out stuff in it, not only for his business cronies, but for his daughter.
He was ripping you off. He was plagiarizing everything that you had to say. What was going through your mind when you heard Joe using your phrases?
He was. A lot of people say that too, when he was using a lot of what I...
No, they don't. I've watched a shit ton of these interviews. It's one of the few assholes that would even, like, go there. And the SOTU? What
I did. The difference is he doesn't do it. And he even talked about the border. We have to strengthen our border. Well, he's not going to do anything on the border. I mean, the border could be completed in 3 weeks. And
yeah, it's just, you got to put the outlets in, and then there's a little bit of trim around the edges, and then the backsplash, and you're fucking done.
He missed that opportunity.
Yeah, the border's just done. I mean, he missed it. If you haven't done it by now.
Millions and millions of people are pouring into our country. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Millions and millions of people from prisons and jails from other countries, they're dumping them into the United States. And
is that dude frozen, or is he just sitting that still?
It's incredible. So, no, I thought it was...
he finally blinked.
I mean, even the radical left didn't give him even decent reviews. Speech, I think that speech was a disaster for everybody, actually. But you look at Ukraine, you look at the borders, you look at...
As a proud Biden voter, I didn't consider it a disaster. It was great for me. It was great. Just saying. So if you're going to say everybody, just carve me out. Everybody but Hal Sparks. That's fine. You can say it that way.
The economy, you look at inflation, which is going to rip us apart.
It actually started to arc down, and we've hit peak inflation, but please continue.
And today we just hit an all-time high in energy prices. And if you look at oil...
Yeah, we're $130.
They just hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
That's not an all-time high. Get the fuck out of here. Hold on. Okay. Here we go. Hold on. When the fuck was this recorded? Oh, March 9th. Oh, this was just this dude. Yeah. Hi, I'm from the future. Okay, I don't even think we have to finish this one today because because all the talking points are already dead. Run that by me again. Let me try to do it. Run that by me again. Let me see something. Say this shit again.
And today we just hit an all-time high in energy prices, and if you look at oil,
we're $130.
They just hit an all-time high.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, $130 is not the all-time high, anyways. Currently, 105. Brent crude's 107. Natural gas is different liters. Heating oil is 396. They're up 0.39% over the day. 1.5 cents higher. Louisiana light crude is down 3%. Bonnie light. My Bonnie light's under the ocean. My Bonnie kills fish in the sea. My Bonnie is kind of a bit greasy. So won't you pour oil over me? All right, 106. OPEC basket. My OPEC basket. 108, that's going down. Mars US is up. Good. America up $5.95. And gasoline is down 0.15% of let's see. Let's look at the gasoline chart, shall we? Dude, here's the whole oil price charts. Brent crude, there we go, is up $5. 53-minute delay. Gasoline is at $3.68. It's down 0.15%. It's been vacillating all over the place. This is and a high point of 380. There you go. And let's see. Let's look at 1 week. No, let's look at a month. There we go. Whoomp whoomp. There's your May. Look at that jack up to there from April. And then this is the peak. And then it goes down again. And then there's the year. This is going to be like, oh gosh, it's terrible. As people went back to business. Still never cleared over $4. Weird. Let's see. Oil olive is a little over $100 a barrel. A little, like 109. Nigerian oil is $109 a barrel. But it's, you know, it's good because it goes with anything. You know what I mean? Fish, chops. Unlike Mayan oil, which is, I mean, it's stepped on. It's garbage. Iran, there's Iran's oil prices. They're stabilized at about 100. Chinese oil is down. Yeah, these oil prices don't look like they're headed in the right direction. Angola is doing all right. Obviously, Arab light crude is up 48 cents on $100. That's not good. There you go. WTI crude. There it is. $105. And I mean, end times. So this is yeah.
Nobody's ever seen that before.
And it's
back up. Hold on. Let's see. The 70-year history of crude oil prices. The crude oil prices historical chart. Hold on. Macro trends. Here they go. Hey, look at this. Here's where we are. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. Here it is. Well, 162 in July of 2008. And then, of course, July of 1980, 137. It's almost as if all of our inflationary problems were caused by giant spikes in oil prices, precipitating a big financial problem. Bing, it gets to a point and wrecks every fucking thing. Then it starts to work its way up, and then it gets carried away, and then it bing, and it could crash, and then we shuffle back through here, and then after we go, it'll go back to bing, and then falls down. Okay, so nobody's ever seen anything like that, unless they were alive in 2008, in which case it was more.
It's going to get worse.
And instead of
it's going to get worse. It's for the record, since this interview, it's gotten better.
Remember, I was saying you're going to pay $7, $8, $9
yes
for gasoline.
I posted your video from that.
Turned out to be right.
I posted a video clip from you before the election saying that if Joe Biden got in office, gas would be at $6, $7, and $8, and it's like you're.
It was the highest gas price I've ever seen in my life was $11.56, and that was during Trump.
You nailed it.
And nobody thought it would be this soon. Think of it. It's like nobody ever thought possible that it would be this quick. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Honestly, it's the
it's scary.
Very scary part for those that love our country. Is can we even make it? You know.
Yeah, we can. We're not weak. We understand reality. There's certainly those among us that are panicked and shitting themselves and defeatists. But they're mostly Republicans, so I'm not worried.
If we take back the Senate and the House in the midterms,
won't happen.
Can we as a country even make it to 2024 when we have
Well, no, not if the Republicans take back the House and Senate. Of course not.
Have the opportunity, hopefully, to vote for you again for president.
I don't know. I think our country's gone down so fast. And I say, if you took the 5 worst...
All right, I'm bored. This is old. And we've got more videos to cover. It's going to be the same shit. I hope you guys can forgive me, but this next video is on the longish side as well. but it kind of fits into. Hold on, how long is this one? There's so many. Well, let's take a little fantasy dip, shall we? You know, it's been a while since we've seen the most miserable man on the internet, Greg Kelly, who awkwardly often starts his segments with this same, like pantomiming this same clip. I don't know why he thinks it. I mean, they must get letters about it. Where people are like, I love it, Greg. When you do that thing, it's so great. It's so great.
All I can say,
right? You know what I'm talking about? This bullshit.
Is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
And the fake news, they are swooning for the new White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. That's her name. They gave her
yes, it is.
A great big party.
Cool it with the Karine hype. Look, we get it. She's a black lady. You guys like those. All right, but the rest of us don't have to.
And they said goodbye to Jen Psaki last week, but somehow Jen Psaki is still there. I don't know what the heck's going on when she actually takes over. But the new girl, Karine Jean-Pierre, she seems very sweet when you meet her. She seems very nice.
But clearly that means she's a baby eater.
You know, but you listen to the stuff she says and the stuff she's tweeted. She's nasty. She's horrible. Take a look at this. Stolen emails, stolen drones, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump. That's...
Before a nation takes something of ours, should we let them keep it? That was a reference to a specific... That was that drone that went... Hold on. When was this? Okay, 2016? Yeah. Whoops. It was Iran, I think, wasn't it? Or Afghan? I forget. It's been a while. Stolen drone. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. This was the underwater U.S. drone that was seized by China that people were referencing. This is December 16th. China to return seized U.S. drone, says Washington is hyping up incident. China will return an underwater U.S. drone seized by a naval vessel this week in the South China Sea. Both countries said Saturday, but Beijing complained that Washington had been hyping it up. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, who has vowed to take an aggressive approach in dealing with China over economic, military, jumped on the unusual drone seizure with a pair of provocative tweets accusing Beijing of stealing the equipment. Through direct engagement, blah, blah, blah. They came, and that was before he came back. All right. That's what she's referencing. Boop.
December 17th of 2016.
Yeah, she was referencing Trump's statements.
See, it's okay when they say the election was stolen, right? Next, reminder, Brian Kemp's.
Well, I will say that, yes, you have a freedom of speech, but once you start instigating violence... See, there was at no point did Karine Jean-Pierre participate in a march on the Capitol that turned violent and tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power. That's the freedom of speech thing.
Stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. Okay, yeah. It's okay when the left says it, especially somebody like Karine Jean-Pierre. She can go on talk shows and be as crazy and wild as she wants.
You're just upset, Greg, that no one wants you on their talk show? Maybe there's a talk show that takes place on a bus.
Because she's woke and she's left. And, oh, by the way, she's black and a lesbian.
Yes, that's what it is. It's that damn black lesbian favoritism. Again. Denying people like Greg Kelly their seat at the table.
I don't care, but she does.
Apparently you do.
Makes it a big deal. Anyway, here she is.
Why is it a big deal? Oh, she brings it up. And you judge what another person thinks is a big deal based on your discomfort at them bringing it up.
Is being mean.
The president has the temperament of a toddler and the mind of a white supremacist. He knows that he's emboldening racist and bigots.
A white man with all of his privilege comes on stage and steps into our personal space. Donald Trump's racism.
Yeah, he he did. What's the question here?
Is a toxic and dangerous brew. We've known Donald Trump has been a racist for a very long time. That is not surprising. When you
look at those protests, Joy, of those folks who want to take over the Capitol because they want to reopen the government, they're mostly white men, and they're mostly angry, and they have so much hate.
Oh, those white men. We can't stand those white men.
Well, no, it's not that white men are the problem. It's that that group is made up of a specific group of white men who feel like they've been disenfranchised, so they are bullshitting themselves. It's not all white men. It's just the guys like you, Greg.
You know, racist, it used to mean something, right? Horrible.
Yes, yes, Greg, and people would say it about you, and you take it as a badge of honor.
Horrible thing. But now, anybody you disagree with is a racist. And let me show you Donald Trump.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to want to, you know, if everybody in the house wants fish and I don't, I'm not going to start throwing around racism.
The racist getting a civil rights award, a civil rights award with Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. They will say anything about you once you go.
Wait a minute, because that organization put them together. And by the way, how do we know he didn't walk up on that fucking stage and just take one like he did at that cancer charity where he wasn't actually a benefactor, but he walked up and sat on stage as if he was?
Go into politics. But again, what's her name here? Karine Jean-Pierre, she's right. She's got so much going for her, right? She's left, she's woke, she's black, and she's a lesbian. Again, not a big deal to me.
You keep bringing it up. It feels like it is.
But the mainstream media can't stop talking about it.
Neither can you. You've mentioned it more than anyone I have watched.
We also would like to congratulate Karine Jean-Pierre, who is making so much history by becoming the newest White House press secretary.
History is being made at the White House.
Wait a minute. She didn't bring up that she was black or a lesbian. What, we're supposed to just assume?
With the announcement of a new press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre is the first black woman and the first openly gay person to take on that role.
Karine. Now I'm starting to understand why they keep bringing it up. Because she's the first. You know, it's kind of like Greg Kelly bringing up the last time he had sex.
Jean-Pierre will be the next press secretary, becoming the first black person and first openly LGBTQ person to serve as White House press secretary.
International headlines because she has this job. Identity politics, the left.
What, were you just barfing up refrigerator poetry from your Maga magnet set?
Biden White House. I don't know why this is such a big story. Well, those are the...
Because she's the first black woman to ever do the fucking job in the history of the United States. She's also the first out and open LGBT person to do that. That's why it's news. You fuck. The problem is, Greg, is that if you became, God forbid, White House spokesperson, it would not be news because there's a bunch of other douchebags just like you waiting in the wings to do it.
The factors right there. But there are other competent people, supremely competent people, who have had huge jobs in communications in the Trump administration, and who, by the way, happen to be black women.
Right, but none of them were the spokesperson for the actual White House.
Like Dana White. Have you heard of Dana White? She was the press secretary in the Pentagon. That's one of the biggest spokesperson jobs in all of the world. The Pentagon, great big organization. She worked very closely, a top aide to Secretary of Defense Mattis. They traveled the world together. She was a...
Let's look for a moment past the all black women are interchangeable problem that Greg seems to have and go straight to it wasn't historic when she was. Others had been.
Trusted aide and lieutenant, and they traveled the world together. There she is at his side, and I think they flew on military planes.
It's almost like these pictures were taken and they were like they put these pans in for a documentary on like black women. They're invading the place.
To Afghanistan, far off like that. But you never hear of Dana White. Why is that? Why is that? I don't know. You should. We should have. Is it because, I don't know.
I don't know. Is it because the Trump White House didn't want to bring her up? Or she was great at that particular job, but they didn't want to move her over to the to interrupt the uninterrupted chain of blonde ladies in sleeveless dresses?
No, the mainstream media doesn't like Donald Trump. Is it because I don't think she's gay? Is it because
you don't think she is? Ask.
I don't know, but I think it's unfair. And take a look at her credentials. University of Chicago, language degree, speaks Mandarin, Chinese, and French.
Yeah, that's why it helped for her to be at the DoD. That's all of Africa and most of Asia.
Studied economics and business in Beijing, foreign studies in Seoul in South Korea. Press secretary for the Republican Conference on the House of Representatives, a staff member of the Armed Services Committee, advised John McCain back in 2008. These are serious.
I think I found the problem. She wasn't on Team Sarah Palin, was she?
Credentials, and her service should have been celebrated.
Why didn't you? Greg, what was stopping you from today we celebrate the black ones? Part of the Trump staff and the administration that you as a Newsmax viewer might overlook. Today we're going to show you that there are some black ones. On today's The Black Ones. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
It won't be forgotten. It will not be forgotten. Well done, Dana White.
Yeah, now you give a shit? Where was this applause when she actually fucking worked there?
All right. Also, we saw Joe Biden today struggling, hemming, hawing. He's in front of the nation's media. You can't see it, but there are like 100 or so reporters in the room. And what are they not asking about? They're not asking him about the laptop. The laptop.
There isn't one. No. You don't get to put a picture of a laptop that was released after the laptop that we're allegedly talking about. Wrong year, fucko. Those are USB-C ports.
That has now been verified.
No, it hasn't.
Joe Biden told us, everybody, that was Russia disinformation.
It is.
And he doesn't get asked about it.
Yeah, because everybody in that room who actually has access isn't a single-note fuckhead who actually sniffs their own farts and thinks it's that soup's on.
And look at how he can control the conversation. He finishes up his phony baloney event about inflation, and then he can say, you can't ask me anything, only about what I just said, only about inflation. And it works.
You're going to ask me about what I spoke about.
If you're going to ask.
Yeah, because if you ask me what I spoke about, I'll try to stay on, because he's got to stay on topic. They're trying to limit the message because it's a domestic priority. You can't come up there and go, inflation's my #1 domestic priority, and then get me out on a diatribe about fucking infrastructure when we already passed the bill, or whether Build Back Better is going to go through, or whether Joe Manchin is going to upend the filibuster so that we can save Roe v. Wade. That's for another time. No, we made a graphic.
Ask me about what I spoke about. I'll answer your questions.
Right.
And they go along with it. I mean, is that how it works?
Well, no, some people didn't, and he just blew it off. He's like, ask me about inflation. That's his decision. It's his press conference.
I just saw the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They just told me that,
you saw it on TV. You weren't invited.
They'll search for the truth, and they'll find the lightness from the darkness, right? They love talking about how important they are and their job is. Just listen to them.
To gird our democracy, we reporters believe that in the United States, no man or woman who holds or seeks power is above being questioned. Our democracy depends on journalists shining light and truth upon darkness.
By the way, they're talking about the dead journalists at that point, too, which is why he's being somber about this issue.
And lies, and bringing accountability to officials at every level of our government.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Show me a picture of the laptop. I don't want to see another picture of Hunter from his hacked phone when it was in Ukraine that they put on the fake laptop and then sold. I want to see something I haven't seen. They've had this fucking thing for 2 years, this hard drive. Show me something I haven't seen. Anything. Anything I didn't see in the first fucking week.
But so pompous. They tell themselves these things. Joe Biden has not been asked about that. Serious lies all the time.
Whoa, what was that? What was that edit?
Tell themselves these things. Joe Biden has not been asked about that. Serious lies all the time.
What the fuck? Newsmax, what's up? What'd you cut out? I have some questions for Greg Kelly. Why is his YouTube editor having to cut out entire segments of his monologue or diatribe or dialogue? Monotribe? It's monotribe. That's what it is.
He also tells little...
It's a lonely man screaming into a camera that only I watch.
...lies that bother me. Now, when Joe says this, I actually don't believe him. Now, I could be wrong, but...
You are.
What do you think?
I'll never forget getting knocked out when I was in 5th grade, and my dad walked out and said, "Get up, get up, get up. Unless something's broken, get up." Well, I think that's what sports tells you. You just get up. You get up. But my dad would say, every time you get knocked down, just get up, Joey, get up. My dad said just one thing. When you get knocked down, get up. Just get up.
Yeah. That sounds like... Why don't you believe that? That sounds like something an Irish dad would say when you get the shit kicked out of you or you get knocked over in a game. And he's obviously talking about, if they're cutting around this, but he's talking about playing sports, physical sports, more than likely football.
Get up.
I've heard that story before in a Cracker Jack box. Is that how Mr. Joe Biden Sr. said it? That sounds kind of nasty. How about, are you okay, Joe?
Jesus Christ. You're worried about how a dad talks to his fucking kid, and you start your show off quoting Donald Trump, who fucking slugged Don Jr. for not wearing a suit to a baseball game. Who never changed a diaper. This dude, after his wife and daughter were killed in a fucking car accident, took a train to work in D.C. and back every night so he could tuck his fucking kids into bed. The fuck are you talking about?
Are you okay, Joey? I don't know. Something tells me it's one of those tall tales that Joe tells about...
Nobody gives a fuck. Greg, this is gross. Nobody gives a fuck. Trump doesn't even dispute the story about him hitting Don Jr. for wearing wanting to wear a baseball jersey to a fucking New York Yankees game, I think it was. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Everything. He tells serious lies. He tells little lies. That's who he is. And that's who he promised us he wouldn't be. And he did it in the most solemn, over-the-top way.
Again, what the fuck is this about? What about this story? What evidence do you have that this story, beyond being an anecdote, isn't true? And this is the assertion you're making that he violated the public trust because he tells a story about when he was playing sports when his kid and his dad went, "Get up, Joey. Get up. Just get up. It's okay to get knocked down. Just get up."
Everything he said he would be and do, he's failed at.
No, actually. Infrastructure bill, rescue package. We're out of Afghanistan. I don't know if you noticed that. There's quite a lot checking off on that. And by the way, NATO and our allies, closer than ever. Standing in the world, kicking ass. AUKUS agreement.
My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I'll give all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency.
Yeah, this was good. I like this.
And dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world.
By any stretch, is he meeting the moment?
Yes. Yeah. Instead of threatening the president of Ukraine and denying him javelins that the Congress had already passed a bill to give him by delaying them to the absolute last fucking second, he is shoring up NATO, improving our relationships, and backing Ukraine in their fight for their democracy and sovereignty. Of course he fucking is.
Are we a beacon for democracy?
Yes.
So what happened overseas?
What? You saw what happened overseas? What happened overseas?
Is he leveling with the American people?
Wait a minute. What the fuck happened overseas? You mean what's still happening? What do you mean? Macron beating Le Pen?
His solemn promise to level with us? Of course not. He is failing in every way.
No. No, not by any measure. And by the way, if you want double-digit unemployment, for example, maybe that's how you would think. If you want the deficit to go up instead of down, that's what you would think. If you want Russia to be able to take Ukraine, dig as many mass graves as they want, carpet bomb the fuck out of the place with no recourse, and the Ukrainians have no ability to fight back, then maybe you would think that way. If you want to make sure that no one like Justice Jackson gets on the court, which, judging from the beginning of this video, might be concerning to someone like Greg, then yeah, you would think Joe Biden is a fucking failure. Because he is succeeding at what we voted for him to do. And he is the opposite of what you were hoping would happen to the fucking country and to Ukraine and to women and to regular working people as we reshore more factories now than at any time in America's history.
And some people are not afraid to call him out. Senator Rick Scott of Florida tweeted that given his condition, given his failings, he should resign.
I think that was because he said Rick Scott was from Wisconsin instead of Florida.
He was asked about it today. Joe Biden was.
And he said, I think that guy's got problems.
Major Republicans said.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Greg. He said, you can ask me about inflation if you want to. And, you know, if that's what you want to ask me what I was going to talk about, that earlier clip you showed. And you're like, he gets to dictate and the press, you know, who was all high and mighty, and then you're going to cut to the same fucking press conference where someone asked him about something else. And he answered.
You need to hand in your resignation, sir. Here's what happened.
You called out Rick Scott a little while ago in your remarks. Earlier today, anticipating your remarks, he said, and I'm just quoting here, that the best...
Anticipating your remarks. So.
The most effective thing Joe Biden can do to solve the inflation crisis he created is resign. He's the problem.
Resign.
The senator added later, Joe Biden is unwell, he's unfit for office, he's incoherent, incapacitated, and confused. These are his words. Offering him a chance to respond to them.
I think the man has a problem.
It's not a laughing matter.
Yeah, it is. Rick Scott is upset because he gets confused with Tim Scott all the time, and it might be because Tim Scott's black, and that upset Rick Scott a lot, and that would be the problem he's referring to.
Mr. President, not a laughing matter at all. Think about it.
That's the ending? Think about it. I do quite often, Greg. We think about it all the time. It never involves you, though. I hope you realize that in all of the important issues of the day, no one, and I mean no one, is wondering. I wonder what Greg Kelly's take on this is. If there, no one. Yeah, that was it. Think about it. All right, about which part? The part that you didn't give a shit about a black woman who served in the DOD as a spokesperson with Mad Dog Mattis, who, by the way, you and Trump both hate now. Until a black woman was put in a post and upset you, and then of course when she was yammered at by Burning Man Jesus and responded to it. And this is the thing, by the way, she's not so sweet and innocent. I think she's just sweet and innocent enough, you know, kind of like Bricktop. All right, that's the end of that nonsense. Holy shit. Do I have time? Yeah, I think I've got time for one more. The hard part is what? There's so much stuff. This is, hold on. They keep doing this, all right.
As you know,
Hold on. We did a video where Jimmy Dore was attacking Anna Kasparian for attacking Democrats. And then after that happened, you know, where Jimmy was calling her you know, she finally woke up and she had to admit Jimmy's right and yada, yada, yada. And then I think she went away with COVID, or I don't know when this was filmed, whatever he's referencing. If maybe it was just after that. But he's responding to her immediately backtracking apparently the next day. So I think he might play the same thing we've already seen.
So I just want to get to this first. Here's the tease. So Anna Kasparian, as you know, called me all the names in the book, right?
Not all of them. Just the ones the sort of gross ones that pertain to you. She never brought up your French cuffs thing. You know, as Marxist revolutionaries go, you sure do have a penchant for high French gentleman clothiers.
I'm a right-winger. I'm a grifter. I'm alt-right. This because...
well, right-winger and alt-right are basically the same thing. You're just too old to be alt-right, I think, is the issue.
I'm vicious. I'm all...
That's true.
These things because I told people that the squad has abandoned you and Bernie Sanders is a bullshitter.
That's why. Not because you have Kurt Metzger on and you agree with all the right-wing talking points and you're trying to undermine American support for Ukraine and push the lie that they're full of Nazis so that if their people get shoveled into mass graves, it's their ass and they had it coming. It's not because your economic message now aligns with Kurt Metzger's, which also aligns with right-wingers. That has nothing to do with it. And that you're just basically an anarchist at this point. You're a right-wing anarchist who doesn't give a fuck.
He's a nutless wonder who will never fight for you.
There you go. Bernie Sanders, a nutless wonder who will never fight for you. That's and with friends like these.
Those are true things.
Okay. I always thought that was a neon sign. Turns out it's a suppository.
And for saying that truth, for recognizing it, I've been smeared for over a year and a half.
Well, no, you're just a you've been viewed as a hypocritical, short-sighted asshole by the and everybody else is like, well, I don't know why this dipshit, why I would want him on my side, because it won't last. He's a purist with no skin in the game, so he's got nothing to lose. He could just shit talk anybody because the fucker doesn't even vote.
Over it. And it was around force to vote, which is when we tried to get the squad to use their leverage and
which they didn't have.
Get a vote for Medicare for all, and they didn't. And then people like TYT, Nina Turner, Ryan Grimm, a lot of people, David Sirota, they all ran interference for the squad when they weren't doing what we told them to do.
I'm sorry, you told them to do. Like, for the record, by the way, none of the squad, Jimmy Dore didn't, if he voted at all, is not in any member of the squad's district. He's not one of their constituents. Just for the record. But apparently he thinks, because he gave them a contribution in kind by having some of them on his show, that they owe him. I don't know. It's like, you know, his show's incorporated. So think of his show as like a corporation that gives free press to a politician and in return demands that they vote the way of that corporation instead of their constituents. It's like that.
And so
it's exactly like that.
Finally, so the watershed moment, I guess, was abortion, because I guess it affects her like a...
You guess?
True. Like a... she doesn't understand...
Like a what? Like a true what?
And so finally, so the watershed moment, I guess, was abortion, because I guess it affects her like a true... like a...
whore. That's where he's going. That's again, I'm not a fan of Anna's. That's fucked up though. That's what he means. Like, because abortions are for whores. That's what he's talking about. Fucking hell. No wonder she called you every name in the book, you prick.
She doesn't understand a situation or a situation till it affects her personally. And then she said this.
If we're going to sit around and wait for our elected lawmakers to protect...
Jesus Christ. Jimmy, you're not going to try harder to seem like an old man on a lawn? It's loud.
Protect us from these...
It's loud.
Religious zealots and these right-wing authoritarians. Done with them.
Part.
Completely.
We saw this piece.
Okay. It's time to Oregon.
So it goes on.
in the background?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jake is going to say, Anna, okay. Anna, don't say that. Anna, don't say that. Don't say that. You're gonna prove Jimmy Dore right. Anna, don't say that. You're gonna prove Jimmy Dore right, which is what she did.
No, she didn't. She went off the deep end. You're both being assholes in that situation. You're both wrong. She didn't prove you right. She joined you in being wrong.
And
apparently it was short-lived.
When she does that, people make videos like this.
Hack by individuals on YouTube, on Patreon, presenting themselves as part of the left while simultaneously viciously attacking both the squad, but more importantly, people like Nina Turner. All of the bootlickers for the Democratic Party get so upset at me for telling the truth about how ineffective and pathetic Democratic lawmakers are. Go ahead and cry about it.
So there she is doing her Jimmy Dore impression. She's channeling me, and then Cenk is realizing she's doing that, and we're going to make a video like this, which we did. And then someone put this video together, which shows her.
Yeah, I don't get it. She dips her toe in the asshole pool and
contradicting herself like a schizophrenic.
I'm sorry. Should we do a cut back and forth of you supporting Bernie Sanders and you calling him a nutless wonder so clocks don't move?
This is fun.
That includes the squad. I don't care anymore. So while they obsess about us and while they obsess about attacking progressive lawmakers who are our best bet in getting something done in Congress, and what do Democrats do? Do they do anything to prepare for it, to strategize, to ensure that they mitigate the damage that's done by right-wingers in this country? No, they're too busy fundraising. That includes the squad. I don't care anymore. And the fact that he's been arrested...
Again, they're doing an out-of-context supercut, which is... It's a dick move to do anyways. It's one of the reasons why I do the long-form videos that I do. Meanwhile, this fucker doesn't mind playing them and then just benefiting from them. Think of these things, these hypercuts, as like Kurt Metzger's jokes. They're just, it's community property, and the community is completely Jimmy's.
Wrecking ball to progressives, and especially people like Nina Turner, who's been a fighter for Medicare for All, tells you everything you need to know about him. Period. Him and his clan. No, the reason why I go after Democrats is because A, they deserve it, and B, they deceive us.
Also, Nina Turner's not part of the squad. She didn't actually win. I don't know. Did Jimmy go after her? I don't watch his fucking shit, so I don't care. But is that the premise that we're operating? Is that he was attacking Nina Turner before she actually did anything?
They lie to us. And they tell us that they're going to fight for us, and they do the exact opposite. They fold immediately. Now, keep in mind that Jimmy Dore doesn't believe that anyone within the Democratic Party is ever going to do anything good for the progressive movement. He doesn't believe that a single one of them is actually going to fight for Medicare for all. And they tell us that they're going to fight for us, and they do the exact opposite. They fold immediately. That includes the squad. I don't care anymore.
So we had fun with that. We had fun with that, obviously.
He had somebody make it for him.
We had fun with that. How could you not? When someone...
Yeah, when I ask somebody, I pay some like Fiverr videographer to cut together something for me, make a couple of tweaks.
It's accidentally a clown. It's much funnier than when someone's intentionally trying to be a clown. So that was very funny, right? So it reveals her vacuousness, her lack of consistency, integrity.
I'm sorry, you used to think the sun shined out of Bernie Sanders' ass, and now you call him a nutless wonder. He didn't change.
Gritty, all that stuff.
He just had a ceiling on his electability and recognized it to some degree, but you dropped him anyways, so none of what he wanted to get done would have gotten done anyways.
But a lot of people were saying, well, Jimmy, you should welcome her to the... And I do welcome her, but I knew it wasn't real. I knew that they were going to get a call from Jeffrey Katzenberg, who owns TYT now. And I knew they were going to get a call from their $20 million donors. And they were going to say, hey, you can't tell people not to vote Democrat, asshole.
Yeah, right.
And so that is the next day. This is from the net. After she said all that, I'm done. I'm done with the Democrats. And that includes the squad. They won't fight for you ever. So all the things she smeared me for saying, she screamed at the top of her lungs.
Yes, in a moment of weakness, we now know that the bottom of Anna Kasparian's sort of emotional space is the top of Jimmy Dore.
Right? Which I knew they would. They eventually all have to come and agree with me because it's the reality.
No, they don't. And I maybe he expects that of everyone at TYT because they were all on the same team, and so they all bullshitted off camera about this kind of stuff. But yeah, don't count on it from me.
The Democrats have complete control of government. The squad has
no, they don't
leverage. They'll never.
No, they don't
ever use it.
The squad does not have leverage. They don't. Sorry. Messaging wise, I've told you this, that blue districts turning bluer do not have a message that resonates with the rest of the fucking country. Any more than MTG wins over independents to the Republican Party.
And so here we are, year and a half later, they're finally admitting it. But now, again, I said she's not real. She's going to tell you to vote for those same Democrats come election time. And the next day, this is what happened. Here we go.
Everyone, Ask Shar Empath says, so Anna, are you ready to start the Progressive Party? Sure, it will take all of us and time, but there's no other way. The people have been effed too many times.
Now, the Progressive Party, she knows exactly what that means. That means, hey, you're going to join the People's Party, vote that is organized around economic issues instead of identity politics.
Yeah, we need to stop caring about LGBT issues or women's rights or women working even. We need to stop even talking about that stuff and focus on the $15 minimum wage, which is already happening in most American states. And Joe Biden has already done for federal workers. And we'll build a whole party on workers' co-ops without ever starting one. And stop talking about women. And black people and gay people, because these are losing issues. That's Jimmy's sales pitch.
Are you going to do that? No,
No, there is no People's Party. It's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. You're not going to. Jimmy's not voting this way. He's not running for office this way. They're not even manageable. They're not on the fucking boards. All they would ever do is eat a little bit of Democratic vote, in theory, if you have a bunch of toddlers not voting because they're like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton. And that's exactly how you get Trump. Until the Democrats have a total takeover of the country and the breakaway is better, good, better, and best is the three parties instead of good, fall off a fucking cliff to, it's the lesser of two evils. It's just the lesser of two evils. A pickpocket and a rapist. It's the lesser of two evils. I mean, there's two evils right there. They're both evil. We can agree on that, right? Nobody wants... Well, it's not so much a pickpocket. I mean, they gave you the wallet back. But do you really believe you dropped it? I don't think so. So let's just call him a pickpocket. And the other person is actively trying to roofie you. But it's 6 of one, half dozen of another.
That means she'd have to admit I was right. That's how they run their politics. I would welcome her to the People's Party. I welcome everybody. All of them. Anybody who wants to join, let's join.
Let's join. You're not a member?
But she won't. And here we go.
Listen, I don't want anyone to mistake me as someone who falls in the camp of like Jimmy Dore, okay? Because he's a clown and he actually likes to dig us into a deeper hole that's harder to get out of.
I'm very powerful. I dig the entire left into a deeper hole. I have a lot of power in my YouTube.
No, but you have 1 million followers on YouTube, and that's nothing to sneeze at. And it does have an impact on especially certain congressional races. And if you can, and since you spend most of your time attacking Democrats, and now today more specifically progressive Democrats, which is fucking weird because they don't give you what you want, even though you're not in their fucking district. They have a reason to be concerned because they fucked up in 2016 along with you because you were on the show at the time. I think he was still on there in 2016, right? Yeah, the People's Front of Judea. In 2016, they know they had a dent. 75,000 votes in 3 different states gave Donald Trump the Electoral College. And they know they played a part in that. They know it. They spent years chipping away at Hillary Clinton. He helped. And then people are like, I don't know. Maybe it's, they're basically the same. Why don't we just give the weird guy from New York a try?
YouTube studio.
The point that I want to make is we need to stop emphasizing electoral politics as the end-all be-all. So you should vote in a way that minimizes damage as much as possible.
What is that? See, already backtracked. You have to vote to minimize damage.
Yes, that's true. You have to make an adult choice. You have to be a fucking grown-up. As somebody who has kids, I'm not saying people without kids can't get this. As somebody who has pets, even, the idea that you can just kind of, I don't know, let's see, I'm running out of dry food. I've got some wet food. I'll put a little extra dry food to make the wet food last a day longer because I'm going out of town for 2 days. And it's that or leave no food out at all. Do I mitigate damage or do I just say, fuck it? You know what? I'm going to give it a try. It's better for me if I end up coming home with cat food in the pantry than a cat. So
that's called lesser of two evils.
Right.
Voting. That's called vote for the Democrat.
Yes, exactly. If you were ever presented with an opportunity to vote over something and your choices that will actually result in someone getting in office are what you consider the lesser of two evils, vote for less evil. Every fucking time. Always vote for less evil. And if you're like, well, that's the whole system's evil, then fuck off.
She's already backtracked.
No. She's wised up. She had an emotional moment and she got her shit together.
The next day.
I think she realized she was turning into a bit of a, right-wing Nazi grifter, and she decided to stop herself before it was too late.
I mean, as low-res sarcasm goes, I just don't think it's that deserving of that kind of a laugh. It's a little creepy.
I think that is what happened. I think, Jackson.
Do you think Katzenberg called her like, tell her to take that bun out of her hair, wear something nice, and be polite?
Don't needlessly vote for a party that's actually, or vote in a way that empowers a party that's actually going to take us back further.
So that she's outlining the lesser of two evil voting, which is what's kept us with the Democratic Party for the last 50 years.
No, it's actually the fact that people don't make an ethical choice to choose less evil that will actually get elected in line with the rest of the fucking country instead of their little pocket fiefdoms of of political ideology has kept us teetering on the brink. It's these fuckers and TYT and everyone like them who are like, is there really a difference? For so fucking long that people allowed Trump to get in office and put 3 fucking Supreme Court judges on there that lied their ass off and ended up scuttling Roe v. Wade. Because this crowd, him and her and Cenk, were all like, Hillary Clinton's evil. She's a neoliberal, neocon baby killer. She's basically, well, more wars. She's Goldman Sachs. It's terrible. She's going to be awful or whatever. And then 2 weeks before, like, well, you probably should vote Democrat rather than Donald Trump, when they realized that they had basically blown a hole in the ship. And they were like, somebody should patch that.
Don't vote in a way that empowers another party that's going to take us backward. Meaning, don't vote in a way that makes the Republican win, which means vote for the Democrat.
Right. Yes. A sensible adult choice. The kind of thing you do if you give a fuck about anyone but yourself.
I can't believe this happened this quickly. I can't believe it was that. I thought they were going to try and drip it. And then say, well, it's Trump. You got to say vote against Trump. I thought it was going to be the next day. They start saying vote Democrat, lesser of two evil. What the? Here we go. There's more to this.
But if you think electoral politics is all you need to be involved in, you're wrong. I know there are wonderful.
Yeah, which she's never been involved in anything except electoral politics. She never been to anything, never been to a direct action, never done it. Won't even report a story outside her studio.
Yeah, she will. She's on a Jacobin podcast. She's done Politicon. I know I was on a panel with her. Of course she does shit outside the studio. You don't. Where the fuck is the Jimmy Dore rally? I mean, other than him doing stand-up clubs, doing one-nighter show and 300 seaters, and now they have to sell single tickets now available because our audience is made up entirely of right-wing incel loners.
What if I got to go to my job? Like, I can't just work and then vote. I got to handle the squad ain't going to handle it. I got to do it.
People on the left who have been doing.
I don't even know what the fuck Kurt was saying.
Doing the hard work.
Neither does he.
On the ground. And I commend them for that. That is all.
And the reason why she commends the people on the ground on the left for doing the hard work is because she never did it and never will. That's why.
Oh, I thought you meant TYT's non-union employees.
I want to focus on for the most part. Okay. Election season comes around. Sure. Let's have conversations about who the best candidate is. But if we don't build a pressure campaign outside of Congress, we ain't going to get anything done. And that's what we've been experiencing.
You mean a pressure campaign like, I don't know, force the vote?
Which didn't work and didn't actually have any leverage because you focused on too narrow a group.
That had 90% of your own paying audience were supportive of?
Which almost none of them were in the actual districts of the people they were asking to do this vote on their behalf, which is fucking weird.
I mean, a pressure campaign like that you could have gotten behind. And we could have really forced the squad to start using their leverage.
They don't have any.
You mean like that?
They don't have any. The only leverage they have is that they'd be willing to kill the budget, which includes VA and retirement benefits and shit like that, to get a vote on the board for Medicare for all, which would go down in flames. And so everybody else would have to deal with that electoral bullshit in the primary season of their next round, go through basically what MAGA is doing to the right wings, because they knew this bill wouldn't work, that it would actually be more expensive the way it was laid out, that it wouldn't actually be functional, and it would never get through the Senate, ever. But they want to hold up the vote on the debt, the debt ceiling. They want to hold up the vote on the infrastructure bill and all that to get that one passed because of their quote-unquote leverage. What's their leverage? They won't vote for stuff that is bipartisan and necessary. Fuck those old people. Let them eat cat food if I can't get my vote, which is a bill I know we don't have the votes for in the Senate. But rather than get senators elected, get our number up to 65, so it wouldn't matter if Manchin and Sinema were against it. Instead of working those numbers on the ground.
But you didn't. You actually smeared the activists who had a pressure campaign, and you protected the politicians who were gaslighting and lying to us and abandoning us.
Abandoning us. AOC, how dare you? You abandoned Jimmy Dore.
Do you see how
on the steps of a fire station?
How this works now? And we already had a pressure campaign. When you're not on board with it, people see. You're on a TV show, so people know what you said and did, and especially your own paying audience, 90% who were forced to vote. Forced to vote. You were against it, and your audience...
Right, so she should be... So audience capture is a reasonable thought. Not the fact that 90% of their crowd, which I'm curious about that particular thing, but they were cultivating that the honesty of that, but they were cultivating this audience. Of course they're going to be for it. So fucking what? You can't make someone else's congressional representative do what you say because your TV show audience, which is pathetically small compared to the mainstream corporate media, wants them to, or what? They're not going to vote in their district ever again? If AOC and Ro Khanna and Camilla Jayapal and if they don't vote the way I want, I'm not going to vote for Ted Lieu. What the fuck? I'm not going to show up if they don't force a vote for someone else's district.
Has left you, which is why you were screaming like a maniac the other day against the Democratic Party, which I applaud you for, but I knew it was fake. I knew it was fake.
Well, yeah, because it sounded like you, and you know you're fake, and so, yeah.
And this was perfect example of it.
Do you think, wait, are you sure it was fake? Maybe she just had some real empathy for the squad after she saw how quickly she folded herself. She realized, hey, I'm just on TYT. I can't hold on to a thought.
That's right. She's She's not even in Congress and she's folding. She's just on TYT. She can't even stay consistent for 24 hours. She can't stay consistent.
What am I going to go back?
Well, you were, show her how it's done, Jimmy. You were consistently for Bernie Sanders in the squad until you were consistently against Bernie Sanders in the squad.
The teaching?
We have too many enemies, too many people working against us. It's not just Republicans, it's corporate Democrats, it's the Democratic establishment. Oh. So do I want
buzzword bullshit
to get progressives elected? Yes. Am I happy with progressives in Congress right now? Hell no, I'm not. They're all we've got. They're the best we can get for now. So I'm not going to needlessly attack them more aggressively than I need to. But am I disappointed in them? Yeah, for sure. Get off Twitter.
I mean, can I speak out of both sides of my mouth right now? Yeah. Could I say I'm done with them and then say they're the best we've got and I'm not going to needlessly attack them? And then I'm not.
Am I, is it wrong of me to kind of enjoy this oddly? That basically I'm watching people become politically obsolete. I don't mean the squad. I mean him and her and them.
The best we can get for now. I mean, I guess until Christ returns.
I think the fact that
I don't know what that why that would even be a joke, other than I guess some idea that like there's a messianic following of the squad.
She's talking so poorly about the squad just shows that it's not about any issues. She's talking about a pressure campaign. It's not about even abortion, like you said, or you speculated. This is about the fact that the squad didn't come around and endorse her friend, Nina Turner, who was given a sympathy job at TYT.
Okay, so that's her attack on the squad wasn't because of abortion rights or her being frustrated that this draft opinion came out. That all that emotion was just because they didn't back Nina Turner in this Cleveland district. Huh?
And now they have to reckon with the fact that maybe they're going to have to rehire Nina Turner. She's not going to be in Congress. And this was all they were frustrated.
Yeah, it's cash. It's well, the thing is they could always hire her and then throw a graphic up over her face while she sits there like a simp on the show instead of being a regular part of the, no?
Frustrated about. It's personal politics. It's not about any real issues.
Obviously, This is called a narcissist backpedal. That's all this is. It's always been about them personally. She's.
Yeah, no, I think she's answering questions and sort of like realizing she felt like she overreacted and is compensating because it might have been an emotional reaction to the extraordinary nature of Roe v. Wade ending, which you don't give a fuck about. He didn't give a fuck about. That guy didn't give a fuck about. So you can't even relate.
Not an activist, which is why she never shows up at rallies, which is why she never shows up at direct action things, which
Here's Anna and them clashing with Eric Bolling at a direct action thing for higher wages. TYT, higher wages. TYT, college for all. TYT, end corruption. This is on his show. Let's see. She had to, let's see. She didn't show up anywhere else. She's never been outside. Stopping fossil fuels. Same gathering. Let's see some of these in here. Hold on. This is her giving a speech at that particular place. Here's another live from a BLM protest on Facebook. Let's see. That's the same. Yeah, there she is, the same protest. This is just what's coming up right away. Now, I'm sure I could find Jimmy Dore at dozens of these direct action gatherings, right? I don't know if that's them there. I'm just saying, I just searched Anna Kasparian at rally for whatever, but there she is. Never is one thing. Most of the time she's doing the show, I would guess.
well, she'll never even put her feet on the ground to cover a story.
Never. Whenever. She's never gonna put her feet on the ground to cover a story. She's not she's not ever. Whoops, sorry. 1 second. Scrolling, where were we? Feet on the ground to cover a story. Where was that? Yeah, here you go. Anna Kasparian at a BLM protest. Yeah, I don't think there are any Jimmy Dore at a BLM protest videos. There very well may be. He's ambulatory.
She didn't show up at any of the incredibly well populated Cenk Uygur campaign congressional rallies.
She couldn't, I think, because he was on the show, but I'm pretty sure she covered one of them.
I don't know about that. Maybe.
Do you remember when he was?
Maybe.
I only saw the clip of him where he's like, "Imagine me in Congress yelling at them like they're black airline employees."
Jesus Christ. It's like the air is escaping his body. Is that laughter?
So let's. She says, "I'm the one to needlessly attack the squad." Mm-hmm. What? What are you doing? You're talking about goddamn politicians, and politicians should be afraid of us. And you know who I know? Because the Pulitzer Prize winner and one of my heroes says this about politicians.
Oh, by the way, Chris Hedges had a show on RT for a long time and is complaining because his show's no longer available because they took RT off of YouTube. What's really not on there is, and by the way, there's no reason to believe that Chris Hedges doesn't have copies of his fucking show that he couldn't post on his own YouTube channel if he wanted to. He just lost the viewer numbers, which will keep him up in the algorithm so he can make money off those shows. That's why.
Well, that was pushed through by Clinton and Biden, by the way. Biden was instrumental in all of that. So I think the focus is wrong. Don't expect much from the political class because traditionally They respond only when they're frightened, and it's our job to make them frightened. And I said,
yeah, no one is frightened of you, Jimmy. No one. Honestly, is that what this fucker thinks his job is every day? To make the squad frightened? 4 women and a dude. If Rokana is actually part of the squad. So Jimmy Dore thinks his job is to frighten progressive women. Actually, he might make sense.
It often.
That might best describe what his show is.
And so often that some of the viewers may have already heard it, but I'll say it again. 1971, tens of thousands of anti-war demonstrators surround the White House. This is in Kissinger's memoirs. As I also say, don't ever buy the book. And Kissinger is describing Nixon. He's freaking out. He's got empty city buses all around, ringed around the White House to protect him. And he's looking through the window and going, they're going to break through the barricades and get us. And that's our job. That's where we...
No, it isn't. And Nixon was a paranoid asshole. I'm not pegging my behavior off of a dude who was recorded drunk yelling at paintings and talking about Jews as he lost the presidency because he was corrupt as fuck. The people that scare the people like Richard Nixon are not people who would necessarily affect in the same way the people who are on your side. He was adversarial to those people. When Democrats are in there, they're on the side of a lot of those protesters. It's just a question of tactic, available like political will in the country. And anti-war protests around the Vietnam War, I don't see any, there weren't rings of fucking buses of people who had rolled in to thank Joe Biden from the left for getting us out of Afghanistan for 21 fucking years. That's what would make politicians afraid. These fuckers are going to vote for that guy because he did what he said he was going to do. Nobody ever tries that fear. You ever notice that? Like TYT, Jimmy Dore, Hedges, all these fuckers, they never go, we got to make politicians afraid of us because we're going to back the candidate that is going to stop what they're doing. These guys we got to start bringing the Republicans around because they know there's going to be a wall of fucking blue they're scared of. That's never it. It's always about scaring your own side that you're going to take your ball and go the fuck home. Is there a better example of political toddlerism? If you want to scare the bad politicians, if you want to scare the evil politicians, know that you will always back the lesser of two evils no matter fucking what. So they better start getting less evil quickly. Because the evil ones want you to go People's Party and all that shit. They're counting on it.
We want people.
That's where we want them to be.
No. You want the Republicans shaking in their shit that this whole country's going blue. And that the Democratic Party doesn't give a rat fuck if they don't live in Arizona about Kristen Sinema, or a rat fuck about Joe Manchin if they don't live in West Virginia, because that is not their senator. But they're going to damn well make sure in their state, if it's even the slightest bit purple, that everybody's going to get the fuck out and turn this purple state blue so that the Republicans stop trying to pass, destructive movements like getting rid of a woman's right to choose or destroying gay marriage or fucking wrecking the economy on purpose. That's exactly what this is. These motherfuckers never want to put the fear of God in the other side. Ever. And all those assholes do. The Mitch McConnells of the world, the Donald Trumps of the world, if he can fucking form a thought. All of them sit back and laugh at these assholes saying we're going to hold Democrats' feet to the fire. Because that's how you dampen that side. Yes, and trying to destroy trans people. Exactly, Hikira. And by the way, he doesn't care. He thinks the identity politics are a distraction. That gay rights and women's rights and LGBT rights in general aren't worth fighting over. He believes that the messaging of Medicare for all, which by the way polls at 70% under a public option, which is what Joe Biden's plan was, which polls at 90% and is passable, and the vast majority of the people who are for Medicare for all in that same poll, which everybody fucking cites, believe that Medicare for all would not get rid of individual insurance, which it would in the form they are talking about. Once you tell them, it drops to 40% nationwide.
We want them to be literally frightened.
No, you don't. You want Republicans to be literally frightened that there's going to be a wall of blue, and that even if somebody's imperfect or doesn't do everything you want, that they're going to this march is never going to fucking stop. It's coming over the hill, and it's going to keep coming. And you can either get on board or get the fuck out. That's where you want Republicans. Right now, his daily focus, as is TYT's most of the time, is to make Democrats feel that way. What the fuck? We have 48 elected Democrats in the Senate. I'm not saying that euphemistically, that Manchin and Sinema are Democrats. I'm including them. We have 48 Democrats and 2 independents. That's why we have 50. The Republicans have elected 50 senators. There are more elected Republicans in the Senate than there are Democrats. Do you think they're fucking scared of Jimmy Dore? The Republicans are clapping at this shit.
And people like Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur and Kyle Kalinske.
Oh, he's turning on Kyle now.
Will tell you that's wrong. They'll tell you have to be nicer to politicians. That's
No, they won't. None of them are saying you have to be nicer to politicians. They do, I think, on occasion, suggest that it might be preferable that you make a distinction between the Hillary Clintons of the world and the Donald Trumps of the world instead of saying it's just a fucking wash. That's a problem. But they're not saying be nice to politicians in general. They don't give a fuck how you treat the comptroller for fucking Georgia if you're in line behind them at Starbucks. You can still be a prick, Jimmy.
what they said when we were pressuring them and trying to make them frightened for their jobs, not their physical safety.
By the way, none of them would be frightened for their jobs because you're not in their fucking district. The vast majority of TYT viewers aren't in those fucking districts. And those districts are so soundly Democratic, it wouldn't fucking matter. That's why they were safe blue districts for a long time with people that you regarded as establishment or corporate Dems, because there was almost nothing these fuckers could do to get kicked out of office because the opposite party, that group in that district, recognized that the opposite choice was a fucking monster. And it's even truer now. So why do they have any pressure? What are you going to primary AOC? Get the fuck out of here. She walked to every door in her district. She got elected to the district next door because of her popularity.
We were trying to make them frightened for their jobs.
You can't. You don't have any fucking say. You don't live in their district, Jimmy.
And their reputations.
And who gives a fuck about your reputation if you can't stay in office?
That's what we were putting.
Yeah. Oh my God, my reputation with Jimmy Dore's audience is fucked. Dear God.
We were putting on a pressure campaign.
No, you weren't. It was a flailing. It did nothing. There was no pressure except internally amongst them. It did not add. There was no pressure outside the squad. This is the fucked up part. This kind of goes with what I'm talking about. This dipshit thinks that the pressure he needs to put on is just on the squad. Force the vote. Force them to force other Democrats to hold a vote that they know will die in the Senate because there are not enough votes at all to beat the filibuster out. They know it. But hold up everything, ruin your chances of getting elected in your district because a minority of voters in a minority district, and I don't mean racially minority, I mean ideologically, are pressuring an ideological congressperson to freeze a vote on their behalf. That's not pressure. There is no pressure. They're going to ultimately, well, I'm not going to fucking not vote to fix the roads and the bridges in my town. I'm here to do that and progressive legislation in theory.
And the Young Turks undermined it. Their audience saw it and left them, which is why they now get, 4,000 live stream viewers, and we get somewhere around 15 to 18,000. People saw what happened.
Well, I mean, you're investing in viewership, and you've got a click farm in India watching your shit, Jimmy, and more power to you. It's not something I'm comfortable doing, but knock yourself out.
They thought they can bloviate their way out of it.
I mean, that's basically what this segment is called.
And they couldn't. And now they're paying a price for their inconsistent hackery.
Right. That's always been a problem with TYT. It's why they brought you on in the first place, because you're an inconsistent hack.
And they're turning their back on their own activist base.
No, they're not. They've got a much bigger specific audience, and you have a narrow focused audience. And everybody who left them to come to your show are the narrow activist crowd, which, by the way, you have to, I don't know what your analytics are. We'll have to go look. But as far as whether or not those people even vote at all, much less vote third party, much less vote Democratic, and they like, you can't say I'm going to take my ball and go home if you don't even have a ball and you never showed up in the fucking first place.
When we had a chance to apply pressure to the squad and
you had none.
Actually get something done.
You had none. You can't apply pressure to the squad. You have to apply pressure to their opponents.
They didn't do it.
Because there was no pressure. If there was pressure,
in fact, they turned on us, their activist base, to protect politicians. That's why they...
No, they just don't want those people, the progressives that are in there, to lose their seat in one round and never amount to anything because they don't have the controller leverage that you think they do.
There was no enthusiasm for Nina Turner because she...
Hassan helped TYT. Hassan is Chink's nephew. It's sort of the other way around.
She did the exact thing they did. She protected...
Why is Jimmy always chewing his lips when he pauses? I don't know. Because they eat right before the show.
Politicians, while she gaslit activists and wagged her finger at us for pressuring politicians.
You didn't pressure politicians. You pressured the squad. You pressured progressive politicians that had just gotten into office to basically hold a gun to every retiree in the country's head so that you could get something, just brought up for a vote that you didn't even know you had. You knew for a fact you didn't have the votes to pass because you wanted to ejaculate on the floor of the House and then say scream, I made a baby.
Which is exactly what we're supposed to do.
No, you're not. You're supposed to make your political opponents aware that you are in line with the vast majority of people on so many issues and get those wins on the board and make those people either come around to your side and go, oh shit, they've got a massive mandate and their voter block never wavers. And so we better sign on to some of this shit because it's coming in my district. I can recognize it.
Supposed to make them frightened of us.
No, you're not. And you're not frightening. You're just gross.
Do you want to hear it again? I'll play it again.
Well, that was pushed through by Clinton and Biden, by the way. Biden was in his...
Why the fuck do we want to watch this again? Because
thousands of anti-war demonstrators surround the White House. This is in Kissinger's memoirs. As I also say, don't ever buy the book. And Kissinger's describing Nixon. He's freaking out. He's got empty city buses all around, ringed around the White House.
Yeah, it's Richard fucking Nixon. He should have been afraid. I make a distinction between politicians, ones that are on my side and are aligned with my ideals, my ethics, my desire for the country to the extent that they can be, because they don't just represent me, especially if they're not even in my fucking district or state.
White House to protect him. And
it was fun to watch.
You went to the window and go in, they're going to break through the barricades and get us. And that's
our job.
No, it isn't.
So,
and if it is, you're not doing it because Republicans have nothing to fear from Jimmy Dore at all. At all. This motherfucker runs pro-Trump pieces. Do you think Republicans are worried that Jimmy Dore is going to negatively impact turnout, negatively impact their electoral chances? All he's ever going to do is dampen Democratic turnout. Ever. That's it. 100%. That's the only thing he fucking does. If he has any power in this world at all, it's to dampen that. That's it. Republicans have nothing to fear. Greg Gutfeld has videos of Anna Kasparian on YouTube. Yeah, exactly. And he'll have this one as well.
So anyway, any last... so this was fun. It was fun to watch. You want? Should I play it all the way through? I'll play it all the way through once.
Like everyone.
No. Hold on.
To this 18 months earlier. Okay?
That was a joke I made when you showed, like, I was like, Chank's face is imagining the video you're going to make of it. Remember that? Like, I was just making a dumb joke. I can't believe...
Yeah, that's all you do, Kurt.
That's real.
It's real.
Mistake me as someone who falls in the camp of like Jimmy Dore, okay? Because he's a clown and he...
Yeah, I don't ever want people to mistake me for someone who's been consistent.
Excuse me. Jimmy was Bernie Sanders' biggest supporter and pushed the squad through and then turned on them the minute they didn't pass the purity test. What consistency? You're a fucking toddler.
And way ahead of the curve.
No. You left and built a David Koresh church off of their mega church. Shit happens all the fucking time in cults. It's what happens. That's how most, like, more of the, like, violent, dangerous cults split off a larger, puffier, softer cult. TYT's was essentially a cult of ideology for a while. But it had cushion. It was a little fuzzy around the edges because it dealt with some levels of reality, even though they have this ridiculous attitude that you could just shit on and eviscerate Democrats the entire time. Like, these fucking people, they're monsters. What's the difference? Neo-lib, neocon, it's Neo from the Matrix. I don't know the difference, but it's all awful. And Hillary Clinton's just as bad as Donald Trump. And then 2 weeks before, like, well, but shit. Oh, fuck. This guy's going to win. And we helped. Those kind of things, that's where they get fuzzy. That's why they're puffier. That's why they have a bigger audience, or did for a while anyways. And they all have breakaways. All cults have breakaway bullshit. Fucking Scientology has breakaways. And was a breakaway itself, arguably. That's all Jimmy Dore's show is. It's the strip mall psychotic church of the people that didn't like hearing about the end times at the mega church all the time, or once the mega church started talking about like prosperity doctrine, they're like, I don't want to hear about prosperity doctrine. I want to hear how the world's going to end tomorrow. We're all going to see Jesus buck naked, and that everybody else that I don't like is going to burn. That's the Jimmy Dore runs a strip mall, fire and brimstone church.
I don't want anybody to mistake me for someone who's actually got integrity.
He has none.
Who's consistent and...
He's not. He used to, basically, if there was a Bernie Sanders balloon in the Macy's Day Parade, Jimmy Dore would have blown it up personally with a nozzle on its asshole. And he knows it. And now he hates the fucking guy because he didn't, because he lost, which happens. So Jimmy, he's very Hollywood that way. The stench of loser. You don't get it anywhere near that. And that the guy... all he did was build a bridge with the guy that did fucking win, ran away with it, and in such a way that he managed to get some of the stuff from his party's idea, like his independent group, onto the docket that Biden was going to push for. And that's a betrayal?
Been way ahead of the curve. An actual true lefty. Unlike me, who were a bunch of union-busting corporate $20 million people, that's not lefty shit. Fucking.
What are you talking about? This is all a capitalist endeavor. You're incorporated. You have employees. You run off super chats and memberships. It's basically a political campaign structure.
Union busting.
Do you do this show for free? Is this a community outreach show? Is this basically you just work your day job at fucking Starbucks and then every night come in and do your citizen your due diligence as a citizen?
Fucking wanting to criminalize homelessness. That's who they are.
Wait, Anna wants to criminalize homelessness? I take it back. She's a terrible person.
Okay.
By the way, have you heard Kurt Metzger talk about homelessness? Jimmy, ask Kurt about homelessness in Los Angeles. Let him, and don't stop him. Ask him and then just let him roll.
Actually likes to dig us into
won't happen.
To a deeper hole that's harder to get out of. The point that I want to make is don't needlessly vote for a party. I know there are ones around what we've been progressives elect. So I'm not going to need.
Am I going to do anything to actually hold them accountable? Am I?
No. Actually, you're just going to threaten what standing they have and make sure that their opponents have a stronger footing every time.
Am I gonna do anything to hold them accountable? No.
Well, you certainly won't do that to Republicans ever.
Never. I'll never do that.
I don't know what she's talking about.
I still need to be convinced that Jimmy didn't actively vote for Trump last time.
Saying hold
both times
them more accountable than we need to. It's like, did you hold them accountable when they voted for Iron Dome funding or the increase in the Capitol, police budget or the increase in the State Department budget? No, you just held them accountable and you scolded them when they didn't endorse Nina Turner for Congress. That was the only time. It's insane.
Again, they're not supposed to vote for those things. Why? They're supposed to gut the Capitol Police? What the fuck kind of Jan 6 bullshit is this? Is this guy one of Marjorie Taylor Greene's assistants?
When they wouldn't use their leverage to force a vote for Medicare for all, they were doing the right
they had none.
thing. Now is not the time. When they didn't use their leverage to force a $15 minimum wage vote, Cenk was lovingly asking them to do it. How'd that work? Jack, that's literally.
Yeah, they don't have the votes to get it passed through. Again, it doesn't work even under reconciliation. You can't do policy stuff like that with 4850 in the fucking Senate unless you're an asshole. That's authoritarian bullshit. Earn your fucking seat at the table. Democrats need to get elected so we have 60, 65 Democrats so that when we come up with this idea that nationwide we need a $15 minimum wage federally, we can make it happen. Instead of always having Democrats on their fucking heels with this asshole tapping them all the time when Republicans are like, dude, I don't even have to do shit. Jimmy will diminish the vote every fucking time.
Literally his words. I'm lovingly asking you guys to
force.
And also, is he giving Biden credit for setting a mandatory $15 minimum wage for federal workers? Biden did that. Did Jimmy do a show about that? I must have missed it.
The 15, he called it.
That's the exact opposite of how politics works. Face, and he knows it. And now here we are.
I think what she's saying is just because they damaged you don't need to damage the Democratic hopes and dreams. When everybody has to be upset.
They didn't damage you. By the way, Kurt's as much as Jimmy balks at being called alt-right, Kurt does not.
That's right. So anyway, that was fun. So again,
that's your idea of fun? Again, I've had my back and forth about Anna, and I think they're bullshit. They helped dig this hole. She and Cenk both did this bullshit. They're why Hillary Clinton didn't get elected. They actively did this, and he was on their team at the fucking time. And I have zero tolerance for this this bullshit. All of a sudden they're supposedly lesser of two evils when they do that within 3 weeks or 5 weeks or now a couple of months of the election cycle after their primary losses. After Nina Turner loses, then they start moving to
reversal came even.
By the way, they do the fall in love and then fall in line, except they don't. They fall in hate. They actively talk about who they hate, and it's usually in the primary. It's not about the fact they love Nina Turner. It's about they hate the establishment. The corporate devs are violent monsters. There's no difference between them. They're Republican from the start. They're evil or whatever. And then that person wins the primary, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, but you should probably vote for them. Well, no, you don't get to demonize somebody like that and then turn around and bullshit everyone. That's what he's calling them out about, and that's exactly the hole they dig. But he just does that on a total scale to the point where he's fully a Republican get out the vote campaign. None of these assholes are attacking Republicans.
Even faster.
Dude has done Hunter Biden laptop fucking videos.
Than I expected. Their lack of integrity, consistency.
Yes. Sorry, should we go back and look at Bernie Sanders videos from, 2016, for Jimmy? Should we do that real quick? Hold on. Let's see. Let's go. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to find the older ones. Give me 1 second.
So what happened last night was you saw the establishment coalesce around a candidate who was going to squash workers, right? That's Joe Biden. So that's what.
Yeah, that's and if you look at his record right now with unemployment at 3.6% and him being the most pro-union president in my lifetime, and then of course the reshoring of more factories in a year and a half than have ever happened in our fucking history. Yeah, but remember, you were warned. This is from 20. When the fuck was this one?
What happened?
Hold on. Show more. When was this? It's got to be. This is 2017.
The establishment coalesced around and remember what we've always said: the Democratic Party's first order of business is to defeat the candidate who represents workers, and then and only then are they.
Well, obviously, according to you, current year Jimmy Dore, that is not Bernie Sanders.
Allowed to try to defeat Donald Trump. And if they don't, that's no big deal, because the most important thing, what their donors want more than anything, is to defeat the candidate who represents workers.
Okay, so, and what he means is Bernie Sanders.
And that's why we have a one-party state.
Right, because it's basically, there is no difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Okay, because the donor class is okay with Donald Trump. They're not okay with Bernie Sanders.
See, yeah, Bernie Sanders. He's the good guy.
There are other Democrats.
Yeah, other Democrats are trying to attack Bernie Sanders.
So that's why you have a one-party state.
Yeah, it's a one-party state because Joe Biden acts and operates exactly like Donald. I mean, he will if he ever becomes president, clearly.
Which is what we're really living in.
We're really living in it. We're really living in a one-party state. If it isn't Bernie Sanders, it's basically Donald Trump, but with better teeth.
It's all run by the same donors. So here,
the same donors donate to both parties. Right. It's all Dow Chemical and a bunch of vampires backing Trump and Biden. Same thing.
Let's give you the rundown. So here we are, Super Tuesday primary results by state. Now, they thought that Bernie Sanders was going to run away with Super Tuesday before the establishment coalesced. He was predicted to.
By the way, this is that they coalesced because Elizabeth Warren was a snake, if you'll recall, and Mayor Pete and everybody backed Biden because they knew that once they got into the South, Bernie would have real problems, and that this was a candidate that
in 8 states,
or they actually just preferred Biden to Bernie.
He won,
which couldn't possibly be true.
4. I think he lost. Did he lose Maine? Where's Maine? Is it in yet?
Yeah, I think they called.
He lost
Maine,
Maine, which was supposed to be easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Biden wins Alabama, Arkansas, Maine. There it is, right?
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina.
And that never would have happened if the evil establishment hadn't, quote, coalesced with their mind control ray, forcing all of the voters that were voting for those other people to magically vote for Joe Biden.
Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, of course, C1 Texas. They closed all the polling places in the poor neighborhoods. Did they not do that?
People were waiting for 7 hours.
Almost
7 hours, yeah. Like
and again,
I just want to tell you one quick
you're the
fact,
Bernie
Jimmy.
Sanders campaign. You don't know that they're going to do that in Texas. You don't have a ground game to make sure that they can't do that.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't run a country if you can't. Maybe the people that can figure out a strategy, coalesce a group of people, get them together. I don't know, like NATO or something. You know, where you get your allies together and they support you in what you're doing, and then you have a strategy for actually doing it. Maybe that person should actually run things instead of, right? No?
And when they start closing polling places, you don't immediately send out emails or whatever.
Yes, and that was not Texas, where the people were waiting 7 hours.
Alerts to your media people to highlight this, what's going on, so everybody knows that they're cheating you again. They're not
cheating him again. They didn't cheat him before.
Not doing that.
Well, they fought it here in California, but it still wasn't enough. Well, like, I mean, they fought it to a bit, and they got some of them open till 10, but it still wasn't enough. And then eventually they were just like, we're closing.
I mean, how did they let this?
We're closing. Sorry. That's how the voting went? Sorry, you're a Sanders voter? Yeah, you guys always come in at 9:30. I'm sorry. It takes far too long.
You let this happen where they just get to close polling places before the election. They do it every time, and you guys don't have a response. I don't know what the response should be. I'm a fucking comedian.
No, he isn't.
This is what you guys do for a living. You have almost unlimited resources.
No. The Bernie Sanders campaign at no point had almost unlimited resources.
You're the biggest fundraiser.
No, he was the biggest, at that time, the biggest individual fundraiser. But overall, for a lower amount. By volume, more people giving just a little. Which included a bunch of Republicans who were trying to boost him. So yeah, when you've got a bunch of Republicans voting for a candidate to try and get them to capsize the party, they tend to give the minimum amount on the website, $25.
Anyway, okay, so again.
Thank you, Sasha. Donation for the construction of the official HAL SPARKS mega cult building. Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, so here, let's
Can I just add one
yes.
more detail that it's according to HuffPost, it's called Texas officials have already rigged the 2020 election Super Tuesday, and they highlight how between 2012 and 2018 that in Texas over 542 polling sites over that span had been closed.
Sorry, when?
Over 542 between 2012 and 2018 that in Texas over 542 polling sites over that span had been closed.
From 2012 to look at Ron. From 2012 to 2018, 450 some odd polling places have been closed. Wouldn't that affect every fucking candidate, no matter who they were? Also, at 10 o'clock?
And so how is that okay?
Oh, how some of us are just going to leave a tad early. Check your Venmo. Oh, Kale Link, thank you. I will. Hold on. Bless you. Okay.
Hey. And so, and how does the Sanders campaign not make that a major issue? Again, this is maddening. This is maddening. They're cheating him right out in the open again.
No, they aren't.
And if Bernie had been doing what we had been urging, again, they're never going to do this. We told the left, stop doing Russiagate. They're going to use it against you. They're doing it. The left still doesn't give a fuck. Stop
attacking Trump. This is not about beating Trump. This is about beating Joe Biden.
Anyway.
And then not getting elected.
Well, you want to talk about collusion? Let's talk about collusion.
Yeah.
Here's some collusion that happened.
Oh, gosh, yes. Not Russia, not Alpha Bank, not Vladimir Putin. By the way, years from now, Putin's not going to be doing shit. He's going to be one of America's best friends. He's certainly not going to, attack anybody or threaten the country with nukes. The worst violent group in this that we have to worry about is the DNC.
The Buttigieg campaign, the Klobuchar campaign, the Biden campaign, and Beto O'Rourke all got together to collude against Bernie Sanders. Oh,
or they found more alignment in their political beliefs and they joined together, and he lost fair and square because he had a 30% top out in his nationwide voting, and they knew it and he knew it.
And Liz Warren, by the way.
That's right.
Liz Warren.
Right, the snake.
And Liz Warren.
And Mike Bloomberg. I mean, they're all in. Mike Bloomberg's the establishment, quote, outsider. We'll see if he catches. And if he doesn't, all the momentum's going to Biden. And we need Liz Warren in the fold to take votes away from Bernie. It's collusion. You want to talk?
It's collusion. They colluded by doing what they said they were going to do. Elizabeth Warren was engaged in the collusion because she wouldn't be Bernie's vice president. So, but consistency is the important thing.
Anna Spine over at TYT. There's no bottom. There's no bottom to them. Of course they got a call from Jeffrey Katzenberg, their $20 million donor, and Hillary Clinton best friend. Of course.
Of course there's audience capture, and people recognize that if you don't keep going further right in your criticism of Democrats and your acceptance of Republicans is probably a better alternative because it's one party anyways, and what's the really fucking difference?
Of course they did.
And if the system burns to the fucking ground, all the better.
Of course they did. Anyway, does that make you as happy as it did me, Jackson? Because it made me very happy.
I love these moments. I love this moment. I love the Force the 15 stunt that Cenk Uygur did. And you know there's going to be more of these.
There's going to be
more of them down the line.
Yeah, because they're doing stuff. And as much as I disagree with it, they're actually involved in it to some degree. You know, Cenk actually ran for office. I mean, mainly his goal in that was to make sure a Democratic woman didn't get that seat. And he was successful. A Republican man is in that seat. Not an evil Democratic woman. Not a sub-tier Hillary Clinton type.
Comes in waves. When's the next stunt where they act like they're anti-Democrat?
Right now, Biden's trying to figure out a way to give $33 billion, not to each major city in America, so they could fix their infrastructure and homelessness problem.
Are you just going to fucking pretend that the biggest infrastructure bill in 50 years didn't just pass? The fuck are you talking about? He already did that. It's a $1.5 trillion infrastructure package. That's exactly what he did. He actually did more.
He wants to give $33 billion to Raytheon and Boeing so they can pretend they're fighting Putin in Ukraine instead of just, again, transferring wealth up to the national security state, which is all they're doing.
Is that what they're doing? Fucking hell.
Doing live stand-up.
No, you're not. It's not stand-up. It's this show. You know, he stands up a little bit for it, but then they bring a chair up and he sits the rest of the time because lazy is as lazy does. I, however, am doing stand-up. I need to start doing, it's not a bad idea. I should put a graphic up at the end of my shows to do this. Not a bad idea. I'm this weekend, Nerd Halen is in Jackpot, Nevada. I don't expect many of you to end up there because it's fucking far away from everything. But in the meantime, I'm going to be at the San Diego Laugh Factory next weekend, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And then on the 24th, the Tuesday, I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then the Tuesday, the 24th, I will be hosting the Ultimate Jam Night at the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles. And then if I can, I'll try and get a Flappers show in there. If I can get them to slap that in there, that would be great. I'll reach out to them as well. And then a week later, my son turns 11. It's beautiful. And hence the idea why I'm here doing the show for you, making adult, grown-up decisions and evaluations of things instead of being a fucking toddler like Dor and TYT yelling at each other on the playground. And the one thing I want you to take away from all this shit today, from this dipshit, from Boris and Bannon, to this asshole interviewing this other asshole, to him claptrapping about how Anna Kasparian isn't sufficiently awful. She had a window of awful, but she's become the lesser of two evils instead of the most evil. Or this prick,
Church,
right? This dickhead. Trump did nothing wrong in Lafayette Square. Fucking hell. What I want you to take away most of all from all of these is that there is nothing to fear from any of them. If I can do anything here by just like taking the piss out of these idiots and get people to take them less seriously and take their own lives more seriously and have a smile or two, my job is done. That's my gig, and I'm proud to do it. And if I have to do it alone, or if I have to do it some other way, well, I'm up there in the corner. The fuck happened there, man? Look all shrunky down. How'd that happen? Oh, y'all fixed it. Hold on. Y'all are like, give me a fucking second. Do you hold the button down? And there it is. There you go. There you go, man. Come on. Hey, let me tell you about the lesser of two evils while I'm at it, okay? Every man at some part of his life recognizes he's got one ball hanging lower than the other, all right? And oftentimes, you will not think of one of them as the quote-unquote lesser of two evils until you decide in your life you're going to need at least one, and you are squatting over an alligator pit with a Bing cherry stem hanging out your ass and a couple of people with $5 bills slapped down on the bar and a solid bet going. Then you'll go, that shorter one, that's the lesser of two evils. I'm just saying, trust me on this. So what I want y'all to do is, I know y'all screaming about that vote blue no matter who shit, but as a dyed-in-the-wool Trump supporter, not because I believe in his politics or his ideology, but because I have massive daddy issues and a chemical addiction that has fried most of my prefrontal cortex. And one day I dreamed to have a mouthful of aftermarket chiclets, just like my hero. I know all y'all are saying that vote blue no matter who, but I like Jimmy Dore and TYT and Greg Kelly and Steve Bannon. Want you to do everything you can to fight Democrats at every turn. Be pissy and sarcastic and whiny little babies so that they always feel like they're on the edge and not getting voted back in, so they won't take any chances because they know you ain't going to show up. And then don't show up anyways. I mean, come on. Some black lady from Georgia's probably just going to vote twice for you anyways. That's concierge service y'all have. Democrats they vote 3-4 times, never have to leave the house. So, just take that under consideration, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. Bye.